Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Fourth game! Amazon versus Dropbox. Upper right hand corner, Void representing Amazon, aka Ryan Gordon. On the bottom left hand corner, we have Assmonger, that's his name. I apologize. I guess I'll just go to Monger to avoid being too verbally... I do have to comment on this. This almost sounds like an insult. Good luck, have fun, Assmonger. That'll be that. He's the pink Terran bottom left hand corner. I have very little information on Monger, aside from that his name, and I'm totally going to butcher this, Rajiv Iranki, I think. But he does have the very intimidating coming soon. Sort of like the soon pictures, if you've seen those. This is on Xel Naga Caverns, TVT. When I think Xel Naga Caverns, I just think map positioning is everything. Keeping track of your opponent's army, absolutely huge. And I think this is one of those maps where Hellions are just, they just shine. Absolutely shine. First of all, they can dive in that natural expansion, wreak all sorts of havoc, and if you keep them alive, preserve them into the mid-game, they just do a fantastic job of scouting around the minimap. Void, aka Ryan Gordon, I like what his approach was actually preparing for this. He bought equipment, and I've heard it as saying, if you aren't good, fake it. Intimidate your opponent. Buy lots of fancy things. Get that Razer or Steel Series or whichever mouse out in the field. Make it so when people see you play, they think that's a Starcraft player. Unfortunately, this is played online, so I'm not sure how much of that intimidating factor that will serve. But at the very least, he can feel good about himself with that stuff. I mean, you just gotta love when you have equipment in your hands like that. By the way, before I forget, Dropbox is representing Meals on Wheels for their charity. I haven't announced that already, and that is key. Meals on Wheels. Amazon, of course, representing childsplaycharity.org. Check them out online. Thus far, the only difference in build, we have a gas from both players. Looks like that front door seal not complete. Oh, Monger just about going to get a kill on this SCV. Looks like it just barely slips to the other side, and that leaves that forward SCV, the scouting SCV, with just 15 health. And it might get tacked off otherwise. The only difference in builds thus far is his Void is set up for a front door seal, whereas Monger has set up a little bit more of a defensive posture. Looks like Void, in fact, saw the gas. That SCV is going to escape, so no blockade SCV, but just with 10 health. And that can be key later in this match. Looks like a Marine also in production. That front door is now sealed, but orbital command in production. Second gas now for Monger. Got a Marine behind, actually not at the forward slot even, so could be unsuccessful in denying additional information. Oh, and this SCV is going to end up getting killed. Oh, Monger. So it did end up being key. I'm glad I mentioned that, actually. Slight variation here. Second gas a little bit earlier for Monger. It is possible we'll see a second gas yet from Void. But thus far, it looks like Void is staging up for maybe even a fast expansion build. Never mind. I said it way too soon there. It's like he's harvesting gas. Why is he not building a factory? That's why, because the factory's in that bottom right-hand corner. Silly, silly, silly me. There's that second gas from Void. So the factory coming out just about at the same time. There is going to be more gas inside Monger's hands because keep in mind he's just going to be harvesting it for a longer period of time. So he can actually, he has the option of going up to the starport tech. He has an option of getting early siege tanks out. Whereas Void is much more in a situation to utilize the early Hellions, like I was talking, just because of the way because he's getting gas a little bit later, he's going to have a larger boost of minerals. Supply depot also along the corner here. 4 Marines providing defense on this front door. Let's see if this barracks actually drops a... no, he's actually just going to continue to produce Marines. Monger a little bit behind as far as the overall supply count in the meantime, though. That will be that can be significant difference over the long term. It looks like he is in fact just going to go straight up to Tech Lab. Let's see if he's going Blue Flame. Oh, wow. Fantastic comm set from Void. Going to see that Tech Lab with that factory. Looks like he's doing the same in the opposite corner. He's also getting a starport himself. The ComSat is going to see nothing. Sorry, scanner sweep. Sorry, it's Brood War. Can't get it out of my head. Also, defensive bunker for Monger. He has no idea what he's going up against because he lost vision on that Xel Naga Watchtower. So things not going well for Monger thus far. Still looking for tech from him and what he's going to utilize here. Is he going to go for that early siege tech? Is he going to go for that early pre-igniter? Bunker is now field for Monger. And he is taking a hidden expansion in that bottom right-hand corner, just hoping that it does not get scouted. The tech lab remains silent in the meantime. Starport functioning, siege tech, and siege tech for Void. So even though he got a little bit less earlier gas, got the starport faster, he in fact is opening siege tech first. This could play very, very well, particularly if we see a drop combination. Never mind, we are going to see a Viking first to provide that far ground spotting. I was hoping to see a medevac actually, because that would have crushed this. Absolutely crushed it. Engineering bay production for Monger. The key now for Monger is holding on. If he can just hold on even if Void takes position outside his natural expansion, if he doesn't scout this base, he will end up winning the match just through pure economics. 2 bases much stronger than 1. A much better scanner sweep this time. Sees the starport, sees the factory, sees it producing siege tanks. Very nice. Void moving out. He has a huge supply lead. Monger has been supply capped for quite some time. Is now filling out a lot of that. There's only a single siege tank. There is a bunker there on the front door with 3 Marines in it, though. Keep in mind. But still, without the siege tech upgrade, and it's just about halfway finished, and with siege tech in the opposite corner for Void, he can just hammer away at that without too much trouble. And even then, this could actually end up playing against Void, depending on how defensively he plays this, though. Because if he just plays defense and says, okay, I'm just going to take your natural expansion, take my own expansion, he could still end up falling behind to Monger, but let's see. This is going to be the moment of truth. He has sieged forward slightly out of bunker range. Oh, never mind. It does in fact hit. And Monger does not have siege check yet. Coming in soon. No SCVs coming off the line to do group repair. Marines are actually pulling out, so it is only 3 Marines and a siege tank to defend. And Void should see it. 2 siege tanks are there, but there's 2 siege tanks on that opposite corner. And it looks like... Ooh, that's close. Counter Viking on that forward position as well. Oh, Marines moving forward for Monger, though. They're going to get taken out. More Marines starting to charge forward. They need to be careful. Siege tank absorbing a hit, but that Viking providing plenty of scouting. That Viking was taken out overhead. And Void, his grip on this natural expansion, is being devastated. He's having to pull back. And he might think, okay, well, I gave up that natural expansion, but I'm going to go ahead and just get my own natural expansion up. But look how much later this command center is. It's just about halfway finished, and the SCVs are in fact mining that bottom right-hand corner for Monger. What he really needs to do, though, is cap this gas. If he can get that gas up and running, he will be in a fantastic position. More Void Rays, more siege tanks moving out. Wow, Void! Maybe thinking about double expanding, or maybe even moving this command center out to the gold expansion and playing a much more aggressive forward slot game if he sees Monger basically trying to play this psychologically, saying, okay, you're just defending everything. You're getting extremely defensive and just going to try to defend up everywhere. Well, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to take my gold base and hope that you don't come out against me. Which could be extremely clever and actually could basically get him back in this match. Currently, he's kind of in a awkward spot, though, getting orbital command up and running, but just well behind economically. You can see the difference in minerals. Really, the key here, though, is for Monger, again, getting this gas up and running. That is the difference, TVT, is all those gas siege tanks, Vikings, the Marines aren't what make the difference in this matchup. However, pulling up the raw unit counts, 3 siege tanks, 3 Vikings, so slight aerial control here for Monger. He is well behind in the Marine count overall, though. It's not going to hurt him too much, though, because, again, this is kind of a do-or-die situation, just now taking his gas. This is really do-or-die in this bottom right-hand corner. Void has opened up that destructible rock, and it looks like he is, in fact, going to move out and take his gold base. It's going to be a while before he can get that up and running. This is still going to give an opportunity for Monger to go ahead and take his third at his natural expansion and just establish up once again. He does have superior air, so he still might be able to pull that off. Meantime, Void looks like he's going to switch to a tech lab as well as a reactor, get more Marines to flood in this attack so he can throw out more suicide units. Monger needs to be very careful of these Vikings that are starting to approach out in the field and do some scouting information. Looks like the flat macro count has stabilized. Void pulling slightly ahead at this stage. And it looks like he is in fact going to double expand. So now taking his natural expansion as well as his gold base. So now it's going to be critical for Monger to go up and either take his base immediately, which it does not look like he's doing, or to go up and be aggressive with a superior economy, which is going to kick in just momentarily. He does have 2 factories out compared to just the... Well, actually, never mind. 2 factories out for Void as well. And, oh, Void moving out with his 4 siege tanks. These Vikings completely out of position. He does see that gold expansion. Looking for a reaction. Only a single Viking. This would be a great engagement, actually. Never mind. 4 coming up. Oh, and now Monger losing the one advantage he had, air control. On top of that, he's not going to be able to spot with whatever advantage this base might have given him there. Is ahead overall in harvesters, but now well behind as far as just flat army. Building command center to that corner, and I think Void did in fact scout that. So Void can just sit back, say, okay, well, I'm going to get my 3 bases up, plus I have this gold base, which is producing double. So I'm going to catch up well ahead. And unfortunately, Monger, really what it comes down to is off this hidden expansion, really wasn't able to capitalize on it. Void is just better macro overall here. And also taking out those Vikings, absolutely huge. So bringing up the flat unit count, as you can see, Void's actually ahead the overall siege tank count as well as the marine count. The only advantage Monger has is a kind of a pithy SCV count, which is not going to do anything for him because of this gold base. And Void, all he has to do is, yeah, stage up here. Actually, might even want to stage up a little bit closer to just cover both expansions. And he will, even though he doesn't know about this base in the bottom right hand, he's got to think he's so far ahead. He's still in a great position to win this match. Another comp set just going to check forward. He's got to be confused, though, that why Monger has not, in fact, GG'd here at this stage. Moving forward with more Vikings, more siege tanks. And the one thing is Void looking at... He's got to assume there's something hidden, though, once he gets a good look at these siege tanks and Viking counts. But maybe not, again, because Monger wasn't able to keep up with that macro. We'll see. We'll see. Siege tanks starting to encircle. Monger going for the longer game. A Thor out for Monger. Interesting. Perhaps to try to make up the difference in these in the Viking counts, also maybe to just absorb siege tank hits as he's pressing forward. Maybe just because he had, wow, actually going for a lot of Thor production. This is kind of an interesting build. I can't say I've ever seen this. Very interesting. They can absorb a lot of damage, though, on the front. Void, though, that's if he can fill in with more siege tanks overall, that's the Thor is not going to be able to do all that much. It's really what it comes down to. They're just going to get pummeled before they're really able to engage. And yeah, maybe they'll absorb 1 or 2 siege tank shots, but Monger is just going to have fewer siege tanks in the background to really capitalize on it. Interesting. A lot of Marines pressing forward. Stimpack just about upgrade. Killing one of his own siege tanks. It's the moral boost. Laughing about it now. Calling, that's right, I'll play this Russian style. I am the Red Army currently. Russia is one of those few places where you kill your own troops, morale goes up. So I like that. Playing in a little bit of trash talking. Void pressing up, wants to take his 4th base. Again, play a long macro style. Plating 1 going up, so definitely more of a defensive start here on that armory for Monger. So opening up, yeah, plate first to, I guess, make the Thors a little bit more durable. Weapons 1 in the meantime is working its way. But keep in mind it's ship weapons 1. So he's worried a little bit more about air control than anything here. And maybe thinking about the long-term battlecruiser shift. Nice sensor tower in that bottom right-hand corner, but that is a huge reveal for Void, because keep in mind Void sees that on the minimap. He's got to be thinking, okay, sensor tower bottom right-hand corner, there's something there. This might actually have been a big mistake for Monger. Because he can't defend this. He just doesn't have the troops the way he's lined up here. An SCV actually building another sensor tower out to 3 o'clock location. That's a very interesting exchange here, just in the dark map metagame. Also a sensor tower, I love this for Void. Much better coverage on his part. He's going to see anything moving out of Monger's base. The one option that Monger might have had here is some drops along that back corner, and that possibility has now been ripped out. Void, upper left-hand base, is up and running. He has a much superior economy, has additional SCVs on top of everything else. Monger is essentially pinned into 3 bases. He's going to have to fight his way to take this gold expansion. And I'm very curious to see these Thors in action and micromanagement from Monger with that Thor fight. But as you can see, again, I want to see that gas taken. Void just well ahead in supply count. I think in army composition, honestly. As long as he continues to have it all in one place, really. And he has really good spread across that army count as well. There is a single medevac there. Also a couple marauders here. Kind of weird composition here. High-sec auto-tracking upgrading for Monger. Kind of curious about that decision. Some siege tanks moving over to the right. They are going to check this high ground expansion. Monger not even going to deal with it. He realizes he can't really unsiege anything to cope with that attack, so he's just going to abandon this location. Looks like Void is in fact going to see, okay, yes, there was an expansion here, but maybe not a lot else. Starting to scout forward a little bit. Oh, wow, actually taking this forward base while there's that distraction. Was able to kill a siege tank. And I don't see the Vikings. Where's the Vikings? Void with his Vikings out of position. Giving an opportunity to Monger, and Monger starting to press in. This could be it. Siege tanks along that bottom right-hand corner. Not the best concavity for Void. He doesn't have those siege tanks catching this. So Monger with a great opportunity pressing in. The siege tank count dropping. More siege tanks coming from the right, though. So Monger not out of the woods yet. And still plenty of Vikings overhead. There's that big siege from the right, though. This could be the shift in the battle. And yeah, there's that siege hit. Oh, just pounding away. But still, plenty of Vikings. Sorry, plenty of Thors standing. Plenty being 2. They're finally taken out. And now the problem for Monger is he's down 100 supply, and Void just has more of an economy to rebuild this. And he still has not breached this gold expansion. He does have the Vikings overhead to scout, however. And he's still being denied this bottom right-hand base. So I gotta say, nice attempt by Monger. I still don't think it's gonna pay off, though. Again, just because of positioning and whatnot. Vikings, finally Void moving these Vikings in to get some spotting for himself. Clearing all of the troops. Still working on the ship plating. Sorry, still working on ship's weapons, so definitely thinking about the long-term match. He does have that 3 o'clock base up and running, and I'm looking for a big starport tech switch from him at this stage. Now that he's cleared that, there it is. Well, never mind, going barracks. Interesting. So putting a lot of his upgrade, wow, odd. He does a battle cruiser now out for Monger. He doesn't have the economy, so exact reverse of the person who I thought was going to do that. There's the fusion core. There's a battle cruiser. He doesn't have the economy really to sustain that. 3 siege tanks still going to be able to crush this base. So Monger down to 2 bases, one of them basically completely mined out. This is not a good situation to switch to battlecruiser. Another base being taken, 9 o'clock location for Void. And it looks like Void, yeah, just continuing to slow play this. Getting more siege tanks out. I'm really curious about this. Looks like a single marauder. That's what the run call is. Gonna try to push up and scout everything. The gold base has actually been mined out. SCV's crushing it. The call there. And oh man, Void being bad-mannered. At 200 supply, SCV's attacking on the low ground, gonna try to take out the command center offensively, and now Monger realizing he maybe has not won it. Just gonna have some fun with it, which I have to respect. Very commendable. But yeah, he's well out of this match. He's surrounded. He's down a lot of supply. He has a battlecruiser out in the field. Maybe that battlecruiser will just end up being a complete hero. But odds are not with this many Vikings with that many upgrades out in the field. Second battlecruiser in production. 2 nukes now. Okay, that was a tech switch from Void. That's why he built so many of the barracks. Wants to get ghosts and whatnot out in the field. Except he's going reactor here. I guess he's just going to do it with flat marines. A little bit BM TVT. He does have the, well, no, just going to go with nukes and cloaking. A little bit of an exchange there right in the middle. Void still sticking around the 200 supply count. And Monger is doing what Terran do best, just shelling up. Marine stage to the right. Is he just going to produce? Yeah, I guess he's just going to produce Marines and go for the all-Marine press-in. Vikings still scouting what they can. They're going to eat some damage there from that turret on the right. This game well in hand, though, for Void. It's just the question is, how does he want to kill Monger at this stage? He needs to be, actually just giving him free kills here, though, with these Vikings. And actually, that's going to make those battlecruisers even more effective if they didn't die in that last exchange, which I think they might have. Yeah, I missed them dying. Sorry about that, guys. No, there's one still left out in the field somewhere. Never mind, it was just produced. 2 nukes. 2 nukes. With cloaking, could be hilarious. Fortunately, there's still turrets out in the field and whatnot. Marines stimming along that right-hand corner, suiciding forward. And yeah, Void just donating kills, and as a result, losing position at this natural expansion, getting a little bit lazy perhaps. There's a medevac also running out in the field, and plenty of marauders for Monger. And Monger, never mind, making a game of it. This shows you why you want to, when you have an advantage, you just want to end the game sometimes, rather than goofing around. Or at least don't, get in these situations where you're like, oh, okay, let me tech switch to something awful and try to win it from there. Looks like the Marauders have been killed nevertheless. Still, I think Void might still be so far ahead that even donating all of these kills and all this position, he still probably will be able to win this match. Because he's got he should have an overwhelming infrastructure here at this stage. Anyway, Monger moving forward. Looks like he's trying to hide an orbital command, trying to sneak up there. Planetary Fortress in his position, however. Is that even his main? No, it looks like he did build that in the forward field, so missed that. Going to be able to kill this expansion. It's not going to do a lot, though, because the gold base is mined out. Also running into siege tanks in the meantime, but he has a much more concentrated force, so he is going to be able to chew through a little bit of infrastructure. This is just turning into silliness. I'm not sure quite what Void's waiting for. Maybe some ghosts. He's actually falling a little bit behind in his macro. Hopefully he doesn't have too many... Okay, no, he's doing okay as far as just flat troop counts. And he's just going to try to chew through this army with just nothing but flat Marines and siege tanks, it looks like. He does have some Vikings, it looks like, able to take air control, and they should just be able to land on top of this. In fact, they need to land, because otherwise they're taking group damage from those Thors. There they go. Still, Thors do plenty of damage. I guess he wants to just win it with Vikings and whatnot. Thor's still standing. They might be able to get proximity on these siege tanks and actually take them out. SCV's running up to do some group repair. Might not be enough though, because Thors just pound through that a little bit. Yeah, and the Thors finally clean things up. So now Monger should be... Okay, never mind, this main well oversaturated. I thought it was going to be mined out at this stage. But definitely behind economically. Still isolated from that third base. I forgot that he took that so much later, actually. That was in fact his third expansion rather than his second. Is starting to move towards his gold base. Void, still kind of goofing around a little bit. Has factories out, has the barracks out. There's the ghost. This is the moment we're looking for. It's also getting combat shield now that he's in a much more infantry-based infrastructure, which may not pay off. He's also doing the piecemeal attack. The unit account tab is going to be really interesting here at the end of the game. I almost wish I could just go up and show the visual of it. Siege tank getting crushed right there, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to give the satisfaction there. Two bases being tanked, siege tanks sneaking underneath, the SCVs going to surround, and this is one of those situations where SCVs are going to be heroes and actually take out these siege tanks. Which is actually open, which is a favor to Monger, because now he's going to be able to establish that bottom right-hand corner. And get that mining. And yes, he's down on SCVs, but honestly, he was behind economically overall anyway. Gold expansion still silent for him, though. So Void, huge supply lead. Still producing Marines and siege tanks. Against a battlecruiser, just Marauder now. Actually, looking at the troop count, I think that might be it. Yeah, 1 battlecruiser, 1 siege tank, 3 Vikings, 1 Thor, 2 Marines. Still, the nukes are there, but I don't know what the nukes are really going to do for Void at this stage, because he doesn't really have a lot to nuke, is what it comes down to. Also, these Marines, very lazy. Have not been involved in this fight at all. Void, once again, gathering these troops, stimming forward, is now going to try to do what he can, shoot through those Thors with those Marines. Taking out this this gold expansion very quickly, once again ripping it out of Monger's hands. Monger does have a counterattack opportunity. He can start poking at that infrastructure once again. There's only 3 siege tanks there. These siege tanks aren't very highly upgraded for Void. Marines starting to shift around to that natural expansion. They're going to get splatted by those siege tanks though. SCV's distance mining getting completely wiped out by Void. And now it's just a matter of when is Void going to end this game. Monger actually with a floating command center in the middle of the map, which is hilarious. Looks like Marine's going to stim pack and take out this command center. If he's waiting for a GG, I think Monger's already proven the fact that he's not going to do it. He's going to have to press in and go for the kill here. Looks like finally with just an innumerable amount of siege tanks doing so perhaps. Marine's still kind of complacent to the edge, and no, he's actually holding up short. Natural expansion is thin, and I think Monger is basically out of SCVs at this stage. You have down to 21 harvesters. Sieging up, though it didn't really need to against this many Marauders. SCVs now coming off the line. The SCVs actually might once again be able to kill all of these siege tanks just because of the positioning. And it looks like that is in fact the case. Floyd, what are you doing here? Offensive Vikings hang out near that planetary fortress. They most certainly do not want to land. And it looks like the Siege Tank Marine composition, or sorry, Siege Tank SCV combination pressing in the meantime. Finally some Marines. There's GG from Monger. Long drawn out game. 2-2 going into an ace match. Whew, that's kind of a silly one. Hope you guys enjoyed it nevertheless. Moving on to Game 5. Ace match. Ace. Facebook. Not involved here. What am I wanting to say? Wow, tired after this one. Actually running a bit of a fever. Amazon versus Dropbox. Not sure even how to end this. That one just kind of threw me off altogether. Mostly the offensive floating command center. Unbelievable. And the 2 Vikings. Anyway, I hope it was entertaining for you guys. Game 5 coming up.